I'm a big fan of Seth Godin, and he says like choose yourself. And we are in like the choose yourself economy because back in the day,
Yes.
you needed to get through so many gatekeepers in order to pursue this career. And it's probably why I didn't get into writing earlier on, was because it was like, well, I need to apply and get approved and get picked. And now it's like, no, put your stuff out there online, market yourself, tell people you are this and you will be that. That's the
Hmm.
magic of it.
And you don't have to check every box. They say, and I'm just speaking from women because I see that statistic all the time that women don't apply for jobs because they're not checking every box, whereas men will apply even if they meet two out of the five criteria. They're going to apply anyway, and they're going to pretend that they got the job based, even though they don't have those other three, and they kill it, and they end up getting the job. And the woman who probably had four out of the five, but she didn't get that fifth one, she didn't even apply because she wanted.
I'm Christine from paidcopywriter.com. I mentor aspiring writers and freelancers who want to replace their 9 to 5 income by becoming self employed, working from home, no longer dealing with office politics, commutes, or any 9 to 5 BS. If you like that information, you want to learn about content writing, copywriting, marketing, and all things freelance business, you're definitely going to want to subscribe to this channel. I release new videos every week, and definitely comment down below because I like hearing from you guys in the comments.
So put yourself out there, even when you're not 100% confident, because a lot of things are things that you can get over time, skills and whatnot. So yeah, it's easier said than done. I can speak it, but I understand the struggle to go. And that's that perfectionist in all of us where we're like, I don't know, am I good enough? And then your imposter syndrome kicks in. It's all that.
Yeah, I heard this on some type of career podcast, but they were saying that like the job listing is not a list of requirements, it's a wish list. And when you realize
Yes.
list, you can approach it so much more confidently. And imposter syndrome and this like fear of being found out for being new, I have to say it is the number one issue. You and I both mentor freelance writers. I don't know if you've experienced this too. It is the number one roadblock to deal
Hmm.
with. And I'm always trying to come up with like new ways to address it and strategies. But would you say that that's the number one thing holding writers back, is this imposter syndrome?
100%. And their mindset behind it. Like they think that all the clients are taken or they're never going to have an opportunity because they don't have a master's degree. Not the case. And that's not to say you and I don't struggle with some imposter syndrome. There every day, I'm like, someone's gonna find me out that I am not a real agency owner. I just kind of made this up, and then they're gonna shut me down. Nobody's ever gonna hire us again. Like that, that's totally goes across every. And then there's always that fear in my mind of like, what if this doesn't work out? And then I just go, oh, if it doesn't work out, I didn't burn any bridges at the hospital. There's still a nursing shortage across the nation. It's not like I can't get another job. But then that like person inside of you goes, but I'm never going to make that happen. I will make this work. So, you have to fight that voice in your head and be kind to yourself. Like we talk to ourselves like we talk to ourselves worse than we talk to like a worse enemy. Like be kind to yourself. If you screw up something or your client's not happy or they're sending comments or red lines, it's okay. We take it so personal. I'm the worst writer ever. I should just give up. No, you're not.
Something I struggle with so badly,
Yes.
like that feedback from clients. And but it's interesting what you said about how you go there in your mind, like you have this scenario where you're like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to nursing and go back to the hospital. That's actually a stoic principle where you imagine the worst case scenario and you really allow yourself to go there mentally. And once you see that the worst case scenario isn't that bad, it gives you the confidence to just move forward. Because I do that too. I'm like, okay, so if I lose this client or if something happens where I'm not able to get clients and I lose all my money, what then what? And they say, okay, well, I have a skill set. I can go get a job and get back on my feet. And would that be the worst thing on earth? No.
Right?
And the funny thing about putting yourself in that mindset is that the worst case scenario never happens. But once you've accepted it, it allows you to move forward without fear. And I think that's the biggest difference between people like you and I who experience imposter syndrome, but don't let it hold us back, is that we just take action. It's there. We're insecure. We're feeling it. We don't feel 100% confident, but we act
Do
anyway.
it anyway. Yeah, do it anyway. And I think too, it's funny because it's like the worst case scenario was what I did for 20 years. And it wasn't that bad. It wasn't horrible. Like it was what most nurses do. Like it's okay. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. Taking action is the hardest thing. The other hard thing to do, you can take action, but then people feel like they need some sort of motivation to keep going. But the motivation doesn't ever come. The motivation is brought on by habits and consistency. There's many days I wake up and I'm like, oh man, it's 80 outside and beautiful, and I just don't want to work at all. And some days I don't. Some days, most days, you still have to show up. And I think that's the hardest thing is no one's counting if Janine's late to work that day. No one's giving me a point. No one's gonna fire me for no call, no show. Like you have to show up because you have to show up. It's your job to show up. And your clients are just waiting on deliverables. They're not seeing how much time you're putting into anything. So that's the other thing is, having that courage to show up every day and make it happen. It doesn't just happen because you just want it to and you want motivation to do it. The motivation needs to come because you start and you keep going.
Yeah, it's that initial spark because people get very excited about freelance writing. And when they see the possibility and the opportunity, they get really fired up about it. But then, yes, the day to day sets in. And that's with absolutely anything. I mean, with my online course, with 30 Days to Paid, with my brand, Paid Copywriter, there was this super inspirational moment that I believe was from God, like telling me, do this. This is what you should be doing. But that initial enthusiasm fades, and then it's like, oh well, I need to continue to do this now for the next couple of years and continue to build an audience and put out podcast episodes every week and write those email newsletters when I don't feel like it. And if you can actually just get past the honeymoon phase and still be consistent, you're really ahead of like 90% of people, because people just give up when it's no longer new and fresh and exciting.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like a marriage.
Exactly. I always give it's like if you're expecting it to be fireworks the way it was in the very beginning for the rest of the time, you're going to probably be set up for disappointment, because that has to fade out
Yeah.
for another type of love to take place, which is like true bonding and stuff. Like you don't stay in lust phase forever.
Right. Well, and I think too, it's like you get to a point that yeah, it's like hard or whatever, but you get excited to do the work because this is where it's going. You start to get more clients, you see the possibilities, and you see the possibilities monetarily and the clients coming to you or you getting accepted for pitches for different clients or whatever it is. Now it's like working. So when you start to see it work, when you get a contract or whatever, that's also like more quote unquote like motivation to keep going. But there's going to be hard days and there's days you're going to fail and whatever, but it's just picking those pieces up and got to keep going. You got to keep going.
Absolutely. Yes. Constantly setting new goals. And that's like the beauty of being self-employed and entrepreneurship is like you have the ability to set a new goal for yourself and get yourself fired up again about a new goal. It's like, okay, maybe you're going to drop a lower paying client and try to find a better fit client, and that's your new goal. But there's always a way to grow and progress and level up in this
Hmm.
field.